decisions and decisions by the Canadian the government, Canada Revenue Agency. Let's get to that first. This week, Canada Revenue Agency, because of the work of activists like you, ruled that the Jewish National Fund is discriminatory, and therefore it is not a charity. Whoa, that is a great decision. And it is a decision that we will follow in many other ways, because there is so much that is discriminatory about Israel, about that Zionist state, that the possibility of opening new avenues of legal action is growing and growing. This is the future. And Israel, despite all the as Anas mentioned, despite all the accolades that the politicians give to Israel and Israeli politicians, they know that there is trouble for them. We are coming after them. The second decision this week, which is very important, you will have noticed it, the International Court of Justice ruled that Israel's occupation of Palestinian lands in the West Bank and Gaza, and of course the Golan Heights, is illegal. That is important. That is groundbreaking. It is illegal for those 700,000 settlers to be there. Now, there was a mention earlier about disappointment with politicians, and I think my disappointment with politicians was confirmed again when we got the response of the Government of Canada to that International Court of Justice ruling. And what was it? It was a bunch of mumble jumble, but the gist of it was that Israel should somehow curb the violent action of settlers against Palestinians that happens on a day-to-day basis, assisted by the IDF, by the Israeli occupation force. They work in tandem, 1-2. First the settlers, then behind them are the soldiers, when Palestinian resistance is too much for the settlers. What was the response of the Government of Canada? They said, would you curb those activities? Now, if the Government of Canada was in any way responsive to international law, to human rights, to the rulings of the International Court of Justice, what should it have done? It should have called in the Israeli ambassador and said, get those settlers out, clear your army out. That is occupied land, and you are acting illegally. And when that didn't happen, the next day, Government of Canada sanctions against Israel would proceed and would strengthen day by day. And that would give sustenance to countries all around the world who are already in the front line, South Africa and Cuba and other countries who have stood firmly with the Palestinians despite the lies and prevarications of the Western politicians universally. These court decisions have come about because of actions from people like you. And that is the future. International Court of Justice rulings and other international law, the whole of human rights. There are all kinds of rulings and declarations and things like that, but if they are not enforced, then it is irrelevant. Who is enforcing international law and human rights standards in the world? It is you. It is people like you around the world. You are on the forefront of defending and acting for human rights standards, and all power to you. So let us go out and tell the people of Victoria and visitors as well that we are acting for international law, and we will not step down. We will not reduce our activity. We are going to step this up until the criminals who rule in Tel Aviv are done, are brought to court. Yalla, let's do it.